All right, we're going to continue with our media availabilities for this weekend's races. This one is for tonight's NASCAR Camping World Truck Series American Ethanol E15 225. We are joined by Matt Tifft, the driver of the number 11 Brain Gear Surface Sunscreen Toyota. Matt, first of all, just welcome back, and why don't you just talk about what it's like to be back here behind the wheel at Chicagoland. Had a great first practice yesterday, finishing 6th.
Yeah, obviously, we had a meeting at Bristol talking about getting back into a race eventually, and so thankful that this is the weekend we can do it. And Chicagoland is actually one of my favorite tracks, so had a lot of fun yesterday. It was really great to be back in the truck, so looking forward to tonight and getting back in my first race.
Great. We'll open up to questions. Please raise your hand. We'll get a wireless mic. We'll start here with Bob. No, go ahead, Bob.
You want me to go ahead? Or you want me to wait?
Go ahead, Bob. You can ask your question.
All right. You did 2 tests, correct? Did you have any issues at all? Was there anything that felt either different or that? Was there anything different in your testing that you had to address?
No, not at all. And I've been asked about that a lot this weekend. Every time I got in the car, it was like everything had been way before. Did a lot of go-karting as well in between and before the late model tests, and I didn't feel anything at all that was different, and I would not be here this weekend if I did not feel like I was 100% ready to go.
Additional questions for Matt? Up here for Reed. And then we'll go to David.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Could you just describe what it was like, the feeling of getting back in the car the first time?
Yeah, I radioed in after the first practice how much I had missed it. It's interesting because even my late model test, it was at Hickory, and Hickory's it's a small short track and a super late model, totally different kind of car. So going the high speeds and going into the banking of a track like Chicagoland, in a truck series event, it's totally different than what you can prepare for on the short track. So a lot of fun, but also I had to be on my game just like any other driver has to be. But it takes a lap or two for you to get used to it, and I think by the second run out there we were running competitive times again. So but definitely it was soaking it in going around the first couple laps.
We'll go over to David and then to Kenny.
David Scott from the Charlotte Observer. Matt, could you go over again a little bit after you had the diagnosis, kind of what your feelings were, not only just about getting back to racing, but your general health moving forward, and then after the surgery, your therapy and how you move forward?
Well, and that's an interesting question too, because after the diagnosis, it was interesting because I didn't feel any different the day physically. I didn't feel any different, that day than I had the last couple of years. I talked about I had a couple symptoms, but those weren't very often symptoms at all. So, going through that process, it was like, okay, well, I know I have something going on, but at the same time, it was strange because, I had a tumor in my brain, but at the same time, I felt normal. So it wasn't like it was a panic alarm going off in my head. It was felt like any other day. Just it was more of a different situation that I didn't understand that was going on in there. So that was definitely a weird part for a while, because it was like, well, yeah, I got this going on, but man, I want to get back in the race car. I want to go. There's nothing wrong with me, but obviously there was something in there. So and then after the surgery, I think the reason I was able to make such a quick return was just the support I had from family and friends, and just the motivation to get back to racing. It's one of my favorite, things to do, and I love racing. My passion is racing, and I think for having that ability to be able to go out and say, all right, I want to get back in the truck. I have the motivation to do that. That really helped along with the recovery process, because the days where it was hard, I could say to myself, okay, next week you'll feel a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and someday you'll be back, and that day was yesterday.
We'll go over to Kenny Bruce.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. You've kind of addressed this a little bit, but did you learn anything about yourself through this whole process that maybe you didn't realize?
Well, I don't want to say there was ever an aha moment, but maybe just a little bit better understanding of, maybe a little bit more responsibility I put on my shoulders for trying to, use our platform in NASCAR and my platform as a driver for a better cause. And, I've been able to work with the American Brain Tumor Association lately, and it's been a really cool experience because, this is it's a very big deal, but I feel like there's also, a need for an outlet for, medical conditions such as mine, and it's been really cool working with them. And I think, over the next couple of years and couple months and all that stuff, you'll see a really big deal to try to bring awareness to brain tumors, and people have fought through that. I lost my step-grandma to a brain tumor. She wasn't related to me, but I know what that's like to go through it from an outsider's perspective as well. So, that's definitely a passion of mine. I think that's the biggest change, is I feel a social responsibility to help others going through stuff like this.
Do we have any final questions for Matt? Over here on the side.
Aaron Bearden, FrontStretch.com. Matt, Brett Moffitt filled the majority of the races while you were out, and he ran fairly strong. Have you had any conversations with him just about the transition, or even just about racing in the truck?
Yeah, we talked a little bit, and I think the cool thing about the time that I've been out and what we saw change at Red Horse Racing was they got more and more competitive as we went, and it was neat to see it too. I mean, I obviously wish I was in the truck, but the direction Scott Zipadelli and I wanted to go, that's the direction they started moving from the competition side, and I think obviously you saw it work pretty well. So between Herman and Jake Griffin and Brett stepping in the truck, they did a great job of bringing it up to speed, and now it's my turn to step back in it, and I'm going to do the best I can this weekend, and going forward for the rest of the year, I really think we'll have some awesome trucks to work with.
Kevin Ramsell, Speed Sport News. How you doing, Matt?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I just wanted to just talk about how you use social media to give updates, because I think a lot of people were surprised the morning after your surgery that you got on and you're pretty much FaceTiming yourself. Just talk about how you came through that process. That's something you thought of on your own, where you're by yourself in the hotel or in the hospital bed, and just how that helped with your progress as well too.
Well, one of the things that I think was, as soon as I announced that I was undergoing the surgery with the picture or post or whatever I had on there, I realized that, this is a brain surgery is a very major deal, and it's a scary thing to go through. And I had a lot of people reaching out to me and really trying to comfort me through that time. So, at first I thought it was, I thought it would be good for people to actually see me and actually talk and moving and just to show that I was okay. But then after that video, it really went around quite a bit, and I realized how many people were going through other huge operations, whether it was brain related or not. And then I felt like that platform could be used pretty well to show my recovery process. But then, the result of that was just a ton of people coming to me saying, hey, my daughter's going through this, or my son is going through this. Can you give a shout out to them? Can you say hi to them or whatever? And so that was really neat to see that people were actually connecting with me over that, and whether they were NASCAR fans or not, just to see someone going through it and getting better was pretty cool for them to see, and I loved working with them on that.
Any final questions? All right, Matt. Well, thanks for joining us this afternoon, and good luck tonight.
All right, thank you very much.